World War II did not begin with bombs falling on Poland in 1939. It began much earlier, quietly, in meeting rooms, on paper, and inside wounded minds. The war started when the world decided to punish instead of rebuild, to ignore instead of act, and to stay silent instead of confront. After World War I ended in 1918, Europe was exhausted. Millions were dead, empires had collapsed, and nations wanted one thing: revenge and security. Germany was blamed for everything. The Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919, and it was not a peace treaty. It was a sentence. Germany lost territory, its military was crippled, and it was forced to pay massive war reparations. The German economy collapsed. Inflation became so extreme that money lost value faster than it could be printed. Ordinary people suffered, starved, and felt humiliated. A nation that once saw itself as powerful was now treated as a criminal. This humiliation did something dangerous. It created anger, and anger always looks for a voice. Behind the mask was not one man at first. It was an idea that Germany had been betrayed, that its pain was ignored, and that someone must be blamed. Politicians failed. Democracy looked weak. Chaos became normal. Then came Adolf Hitler. Hitler was not powerful when he appeared. He was not chosen by fate. He was enabled. He understood one thing very clearly. Angry people don't want facts, they want meaning. He spoke of pride, revenge, and restoration. He blamed Jews, communists, and foreign powers for Germany's collapse. He promised jobs, strength, and a future. And slowly, people listened. The Great Depression in 1929 destroyed economies across the world. In Germany, it wiped out any remaining stability. Unemployment exploded. Fear spread. Extremes replaced reason. Hitler and the Nazi Party rose not because everyone supported them, but because enough people were desperate. By 1933, Hitler became Chancellor of Germany. Soon after, democracy was dismantled. Opposition was crushed. The Nazi regime turned Germany into a totalitarian state. Propaganda replaced truth. Fear replaced debate. But Hitler was not alone in this plan. Other powers watched and did nothing. Britain and France were exhausted from World War I. They feared another war more than they feared Hitler. When Germany began violating the Treaty of Versailles by rebuilding its military, the world noticed. But no one acted. This silence was not accidental. It was appeasement. When Hitler remilitarized the Rhineland in 1936, it was a clear violation. France had the military power to stop him. Britain supported restraint. Hitler himself later admitted that if France had acted, Germany would have retreated. But they didn't. Each time Hitler crossed a line and faced no consequences, he learned something important. The world would step back. Italy, under Benito Mussolini, had its own ambitions. Fascism had already taken hold there. Mussolini invaded Ethiopia in 1935, and the League of Nations failed to stop him. This failure exposed the weakness of international peacekeeping. Japan, meanwhile, was expanding in Asia. It invaded Manchuria in 1931, and later China. Again, the world protested, but did nothing meaningful. Japan learned the same lesson as Germany. Power matters more than rules. The mask was becoming clearer. In 1938, Hitler demanded the Sudetenland, a region of Czechoslovakia. Britain's Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain believed that giving Hitler what he wanted would prevent war. The Munich Agreement was signed. Czechoslovakia was not even invited to the meeting. Chamberlain returned, claiming peace for our time. But peace built on surrender is temporary. Hitler didn't stop. He took the rest of Czechoslovakia soon after. This was no longer misunderstanding. This was expansion. Behind closed doors, another player was watching. Joseph Stalin. The Soviet Union feared Germany, but also distrusted the West. Britain and France had failed to form a strong alliance against Hitler, so Stalin made a cold decision. In 1939, the Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact was signed. Publicly, it promised peace between Germany and the USSR. Secretly, it divided Eastern Europe into spheres of influence. This agreement removed Hitler's biggest fear, a two-front war. Now the path was clear. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. 2 days later, Britain and France declared war. World War II had officially begun, but the war had already been built piece by punishment, fear, ambition, and silence. Who was behind the mask? It was Hitler, yes, but also the failures of leaders who chose comfort over courage. It was systems that collapsed under pressure. It was nations that believed someone else would act. It was economic despair turned into political weapons. World War II was not caused by madness alone. It was caused by calculation. Each country involved had reasons. Germany wanted revenge and expansion. Italy wanted glory. Japan wanted resources and power. Britain and France wanted to avoid another bloodbath. The Soviet Union wanted survival and influence. No one wanted war, but many prepared for it. And when everyone waits, war walks in on its own. The real tragedy is not that World War II happened. The tragedy is that the world saw it coming and still let it happen. History does not repeat itself because people forget dates. It repeats because people forget decisions. History remembers those who pay attention. If you want to understand the past beyond the surface, subscribe to the Histonomics Project.